Okay, I want to document something very specific really quick. So let me take a couple seconds. The last video that I captured, the Los Angeles Police Department is group stalking in a black and white, hovering over my office in the specific environment. The light source is hovering over my head. And again, I juxtapose that with an address that's very far from here and would in no way be the same sky space where everyone at the address, for example, the Chino Branch Library, the San Bernardino County Public Library in Chino, is looking at the sun hovering over it in its central presence over that entryway, as I documented in my previous video, and I remained at that Chino Branch Library, I believe it's May 13, 2022, and I published this documentation. I will remind you about that. Moments later, LAPD flies over, and this is the video that I captured, the 1:33 p.m. video. The ONS, AHN, apartment number 1818, North Alvarado Street, apartment number 4, at Los Angeles, California, 90026. I want to document an iteration of the demonic behavior, which is the pattern of conduct of stalking with light. And it's an outward demonstration of demonic possession. And it's also speaking to that which is beyond a coincidence. I've captured the people of the state engaging in this hundreds, okay? And it's impossible light activity. It's another iteration of what the demonic objective is, to touch on surfaces with engineered light. And this is coexisting with their crossing of path. That's the significance of someone walking past you, driving past you, or you walking by their location, for example, where they live, or being covered, that is in the engineered light, the ground's covered with engineered light, and you have the presence of the people of the state around you. That creates light activity as well. It's the same objective. You're looking at the same demonic objective being accomplished in all of the ways that I just mentioned. So you'll see with license plate 7UQA508, you're going to understand it has nothing to do with race. It has nothing to do with age. You're looking at what is the demonic behavioral pattern, which is speaking to terrorism as it's going to be prosecuted, accomplishing what is federal group stalking and monitoring. It's occurring moments in the same video where the entity is group stalking in concert with the Los Angeles Police Department. They are crossing paths, and what you will see on the bottom portion of building 1800, that's the building that I'm facing. And as I read their license plate in the video, specifically at 2 minutes and 16 seconds, I read their license plate and you'll see them. It's before the vehicle even crosses path. The vehicle is is on the asphalt. It's getting ready to turn, getting ready to cross path with me. What you'll see is engineered light, impossible light activity. It has nothing to do with the light source. It has nothing to do with sunlight, because sunlight doesn't do that, and sunlight is not bouncing off while it's hitting the top of your car, facing what would be actually the driver's side of Mr. On's vehicle. It's occurring on the passenger side of the vehicle and hitting the building 18, which is up along the passenger side of On's vehicle. This is a demon. And this is demonic conduct, which is the ongoing elements of monitoring, relevant positioning, crossing path in the vehicle, crossing my path, and light activity. Light activity is occurring while that light is swiping across building 1800. You'll see it at 2 minutes and 16 seconds. And it's even occurring, understand it has nothing even to do with the motion of the car. It's not occurring while the vehicle is moving at a specific angle. It's hitting the passenger, if you wanted to attribute it to the sun, if you know that's not the sun, if that's the sun at Chino, there's no sun that's going to be over Mr. On's vehicle at Alvarado Gardens. If that's the sun at Alvarado Gardens, there is no sunlight that is bouncing to the sides of a vehicle across buildings. So either way, it's impossible. You're looking at what is before he is even approached yet. So this light activity is in front of his car, and it is swiping across building 1800. And you'll see it at 2 minutes and 16 seconds in the video with the timestamp of 1:33 p.m. This is the same video where you'll see the Los Angeles Police Department group stalking in a helicopter. They're creating amplified audible activity, while you see the Asian group in the vehicle with license plate 90KF194. They are documented engaging in the video at 1:28 p.m. They're documented also monitoring while this light activity, this corporate active demonic behavior, this is terrorism. The people of the state do this by the masses. All right, the entity, and the more that I document, the more that I speak to you about what they're doing. You see the impossible light activity on the walls inside of my apartment. You see the impossible light activity inside of my office, and you saw this demon. This is the ONS, AHN, at apartment 1818 North Alvarado Street, apartment number 4. Has nothing to do with your age, any physical handicap, any claimed mental handicap. It has nothing to do with your race. It has nothing to do with that. They are all in the same environment, which is a phenomenon. And that's also not a coincidence or an accident. This is revealing what is a state system, and it's criminal monitoring, and it's demonic at its core. This is an iteration of it. The license 7UQA508 is a third-party group stalker living at a crime scene. That in and of itself is grounds for federal prosecution. All right, it is criminal facilitation, and it is being caught, in other words, with your pants down in the operation of that state system. The entity was never supposed to be caught operating a state system, and now you're looking at the crime scene, and they just happen to live at the crime scene. These are people that are devoted to the state's pattern of conduct, in other words. Okay, that is a very serious federal prosecution, and they're engaged in an act of terrorism, terrorizing via directed light, which is what the demon possessed do, stalking with methods of light. So with simultaneity to their crossing path behavior, you'll see impossible light. It's impossible because under no circumstances is it ever occurring, never naturally happening. But engineered light, nonetheless, within the pattern of conduct, is swiping across building 1800 at 2 minutes and 16 seconds, and this is before you see his vehicle cross path with my person in the camera lens. Because he's already crossing path while you're on Alvarado. You understand what path means. It's very broad. You can cross path from behind me. Your person is, I'm surrounded by people. He's just crossing path in a vehicle, and I'm talking about just being in front of me, my eyesight. This is crossing path as he's coming onto the property, and before he is in the lens of the camera, you'll see that impossible light activity swiping across that building, which is impossible light. That's the demonic behavioral pattern, and this is shared by the people of the state. That's a vivid illustration of it. This is what all of the people are doing, and this engineered light that you see moving, and this dynamic engineered light, that's what fills the venue. So I want to be clear, this is deportation, if not federal prison. They were engaged in criminal summoning. They're in video and still images. I even did screenshots so you could see up close images of them. The entity is group stalking with the third party group stalker that you see with the thick accent. He was monitoring also all of them with minor children. Precious Bastillos providing her children living at a crime scene, engaging in, this is a demon possessed individual who has 4 to 5 children, and she is engaging in the state's criminal pattern of conduct in concert with a corrupt law enforcement agency. There are multiple levels of terrorism that Precious Bastillos is engaged in, and while she is documented engaging in that criminal pattern of conduct, that's speaking to how long she's going to sit in federal prison, and you will be removing those children from her possession, not only because she's practicing terrorism with and in concert with a government, but this demonic light that you see the ons engaging in, this impossible light, which is accomplishing criminal monitoring. This is a characteristic that's shared by the people of the state. This is something, this phenomenon is occurring when they're all doing the same supposedly mundane things, such as driving and walking around. All right. I just want to make sure that I document that. That's an act of terrorism. The people of the state that engage in this act with engineered light, as I reference it, stalking with light in the path. That's what demons do. Understand that. This is documentation that is serving for what will be placement of the people of the state and state actors. The demon-possessed law enforcement agencies, they do that with their police vehicles. They do that with their fire trucks, right? You're looking on the surface, and they're demons, and they're stalking in the path in the specific environment, and they have state vehicles, and they're doing the same thing. I'm showing you what is the phenomenon when you're looking at light just appearing out of nowhere, moving across surfaces, when someone's just merely driving a car. That's speaking to, again, the entity using its state vehicles to do the same. They're doing the exact same thing. You're looking at the same demonic objective. It's reiterations of the same exact pattern of conduct. And this demonic behavioral pattern is an outward demonstration of demon possession that's relevant for prosecution for terrorism. And this is what Precious Bastillos is with impunity and malice and with knowledge. Let me be clear. This third-party group stalker is desperate in the same way that the entity freaks out, sounding sirens and stalking even more by planes and helicopters. This is a psychopath because common sense dictates that that's not going to help you. But like I said, this is what the entity does. And this psychopath, this sex offender, this is what Precious Bastillo is, because this is what Precious Bastillo is doing. And she's doing it while she's in the custody of minor children. And it's under the false impression, all right? Hopeful, a desperate hope, okay? That is, it's false. It's to her own detriment and to the detriment of the entity. Because while I document her, I'm documenting the people of the state that engage in the sex offense, that engage in terrorism with corrupt law enforcement agencies and with and in concert with minor children, all right? You're going to analyze that like you would any other sex offender that's engaging in sexual acts with minors, that's engaging in, including minors in such criminal acts, that's engaging in whatever other high crime that you would not want children, that you shouldn't have children engaging in, that you wouldn't do with corrupt law enforcement agency, or that is even more enhanced the more people are engaged. This is all you're not going to change it because it's the government. It's even worse. It's exacerbated because it's a public entity. And she engages in the crime right in my face. That is an unlawful threat. And she continuously puts her children at risk, both by engaging in this demented pattern of conduct and having them in this demented environment for purposes of criminal conduct in concert and on behalf of a government. Let me be clear. Where an entity is engaging in federal group stalking and monitoring, where an entity is engaging in federal group stalking and monitoring in concert with a corrupt law enforcement agency, that's a very dangerous environment. There's nothing safe about it. All right. And I want to be clear. They have children living at the crime scene. This is the entity that's engaging in what is supposed to be covert bullying. No one's ever supposed to know that they're actually targeting one person. They're doing it in a very specific pattern in a specific environment. All of that's not supposed to be known. And so you have with boldness engaging in the criminal act with a minor in your face while they know you're being documented. And let me be clear, this is a desperate hope. And that's serving for what is going to be outright removal of those children. And this is exactly what CPS is listening. That's what's going to happen. Federal group stalking and monitoring is going to be appreciated under federal law. It's going to be recognized. It's also going to, it's in violation of existing federal law. So you're talking about what is recognizing what the government has been doing and what shall be grounds under that existing federal law and federal laws to be created for removing children from what are an abusive and damaging environment while they are engaging in and being placed in literally an environment where ceaseless criminal conduct to the physical harm and torment and terrorism of another American citizen. You are absolutely removing those children. Absolutely. And that's what she did on camera. And she did it facilitating it with these third-party group stalkers that were monitoring with her children, engaging in a sex offense with her children, engaging in terrorism with her children, in concert with the Los Angeles Police Department, who was captured on video, and engaging in what is the demonic behavioral pattern, which is the pattern of conduct. What 1818-4 engaged in is not new. I just captured it on video. I have years of documentation of the people of the state stalking in the path, and it's the outward demonstration of demon possession. When I'm telling you that this is demonic, that their pattern of conduct is demonic, you are looking at what's the flip, the inverse of as opposed to driving your car and light appearing, moving, swiping across out of nowhere across the passenger side when the sun is supposedly above you. But then again, it can't be the sun because its documented presence is remaining in Chino, California, for example, over the entrance of a specific address for the duration of the day. It's being inside of, let's say, Starbucks, and light is just moving across the floor while you have just movement around. That's the same objective. That impossible light activity. Or you'll have what is driving through the driveway of Starbucks, for example, and light just swirling all across the walls inside, while you have people that are oblivious to that environment and just walking around and sitting and chit-chatting and coming in and out with their kids and making coffee and partying and chit-chat. It's the same objective. It's the same pattern of conduct. Just want to be clear. You're looking at the same demonic behavior. It's occurring at different iterations of the same exact thing. And it's entirely demented, and it's going to be severely prosecuted. It's currently 2:04 p.m. This is P.O.C.